What's up, guys? Did some things with the Jeep the other day without filming it because it was pretty crappy outside and pretty cold, and I was laying on the ice cold ground and I didn't want to pull a camera out. So we're going to go over it now. I've had a lot of people ask me on my mud trucks, and my other trucks used to go mudding a lot back in my day, and I want to get back into it. But people have asked me, like, what do you do with your axle vents, your transmission vents, and everything like that? Like, I've seen you sink the whole cab of the truck underwater. Like, obviously, how are you not filling your axles and everything else full of mud? And I'm going to show you, and it's actually pretty simple, and it might help you out one day. Even if I don't four-wheel the vehicle, and it's just like a really capable off-road vehicle, I'll still do this, you know, like in the case of where I live in the mountains, sometimes if storms happen and stuff, like bridges wash out, and it's kind of hard to get places, and sometimes you got to drive through the river. And when I drive through the river, I don't want my axles and my transmission, my transfer case, and all that full of water. So I'm going to show you exactly what you can do without running vent lines all the way to the top of the light bar and having them exposed on the vehicle all the time. I'm going to show you how to get around that. You'll see a lot of people run snorkels and vent lines like all the way up to the top of their snorkel or the top of their light bar, and I don't, because I don't like the way that looks at all, and I'd just rather not cut holes and stuff in my fender. So I'm kind of going to show you how to get around that. You can obviously see it's not that pretty. I haven't like tied it up or anything. I just got it held up with zip ties. I'm gonna make a bracket for those hoses and get them all tidied up nice and everything once I go through and get things done that I want to do. But as you're gonna see here, on the back of my axle is a little piece of hose adapter and an air hose. I know you got an old air hose laying in your shop, and I'm gonna show you why it's better to use that. You see how this stretches? If your vehicle flexes, like this can stretch all the way to there. So if you're rock crawling or anything, first of all, you're not going to rip the hose off or anything like that. When the vehicle flexes, it has a lot of room to move down there. And I'm going to show you reason number 2 of why I do that. You see that I have it tied back into my vent right here with just a little piece of hose adapter. Like, it's shoved in there. This ain't going to leak. It took everything inside me to get this dang thing in there and to get that thing in there, because this hose shrunk over the years. Well, you see all this excess extra cord that we can go all the way out of the Jeep with, and I still have more to play with. That's literally call me crazy, but I mean, it will be hid well and everything when I get done with it. But this is literally my axle vent, and they're like, dude, you're crazy. Or am I crazy? Or am I crazy, dude? Quick zip tie, and we can drive completely underwater up to our eyeballs. But when I don't want to drive in water up to my eyeballs, then I just got that little curly hose down in yonder, tied up out of the way. It's not exposed on the vehicle. Don't got no snorkel or nothing. I'm gonna do if I did a snorkel, I would do a snorkel the same way. You know that accordion pipe that you can get for cold air intakes off of Amazon? I'd literally keep a piece of that in the back, and if I had to go through something, I'd literally just run that straight up, run that to the same place and be done with it. Leave the hood cracked, like or run it all the way under the vehicle, out around the side, and come up on the side of the light bar with a piece of accordion pipe, and boom, like you wouldn't have any issues. Like, I don't like the way a snorkel looks, and I don't like the way it looks when somebody got their vent lines run all the way up on the dang edge of their windshield. You just don't want to ride around like that all the time, because you ain't gonna be in water up to your neck all the time, unless you dang live in a river or something. I don't know. But as you can see, you know, we got this little excess hose right here. It bunches right back up in a quick manner with a few zip ties, and it's tucked right out of the way. Yeah, I do have this big loop down here that I'm going to do something with. I'm going to leave this coil at the bottom. That way when the axle flexes, it has room to flex. But for right now, all this stuff is just living right here, right behind the headlight, with this little bracket attached to there, all coiled up real nice. People be like, oh, that looks dumb, and that's redneck. And yeah, you're going to be sitting on the riverbank asking me for a ride next time the bridge washes out, because you can't drive through. This old boy going to be like, wop, 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 in the old Jeeper, son. I don't care what it looks like. It's blue. It matches the Jeep. And it ain't made for it. So I'm going to put it on there. That's what I do. I'm going to dig stuff out of your garbage bin and make dang Jeep parts out of it. That's just who I am. Now we're moving around to the back. And I kind of did the same thing on the back. Got a big forward axle back here. Different kind of vent, different kind of hole, totally different thing. So had to do it a little differently. But I still kind of routed it where the stock Jeep one went. And there's a coil kind of on the inside of my fender well, and I'm gonna get some little tabs and run that and make it a straight hose all the way up, so it's not just coiled up under there. And then down at the axle is coiled up in a spring. That way, dude, I can flex my axle down 2 foot and it's not gonna rip the vents out or nothing. Like, you'll see people ripping the vents off their axles all the time because they ain't got no room to flex, and then they go rock crawling and stuff and they don't extend those vents, and then they get ripped off the axle, then the axle's full of mud and water, and then you got that thing for about another month before both axles are tore out of it in the shop and you're replacing a bunch of stuff because you just ripped one little tiny vent off. And we ain't gonna have that here because I done did that 10 times and I learned from it. You learn from your mistakes, son. You can see I got my little coil down there that goes to the axle. I got it coiled up right in front of the gas tank. And I'm gonna take this right where this screw is here. Let me zoom out a little bit. Right where this screw is here from this old fender well that's all broken and cracked and we don't need no more. I'm gonna take that and run it right there with a little tack. And I'm gonna put tension on this wire and I'm gonna straighten it out all the way up to there with another little tack in this hole. So this is gonna be a straight piece of wire, or a straight piece of cord. It's gonna look more like this than it looks with that coil in it right now, which, I mean, it don't look bad. Like, I just don't like the way that looks coiled up in my axle. But I'm gonna show you what I did with it in the back. We got the back of your normal Jeep here. Yeah, I gotta fix my window tint. I don't even know what happened there, what was the previous owner. But I got this coming out of this hole right here that was already in the frame. And I got it going all the way up to here. And I got it run around right back here and hid. And I got it attached to the roll bar right now. I'm gonna run all this stuff straight back here. So all you're gonna see is that coming out, and it's gonna be hid back in here, coiled up. Let me see if I can show you. Unravel it here. It's gonna all be hid back in here, coiled up like this. All you're gonna see is that little blue hose coming out and kind of a straight line little blue hose in the bottom of the fender well. And you see I got this coil right here. Well, what this means I can do with this is I can shorten it later too, but I can put this all the way up on this roll bar. And this is tied in trans vents, axle vents, everything. I'm gonna tie in transfer case vents and everything with this line. And when I'm four-wheeling, literally just run that up to the top of my roll bar. If I gotta go under a river, I mean, I ain't even got a zip tie there, dude. It just stays. People might call this stupid. So, oh, you don't want that in your vehicle, but I'm just a different kind of stupid. That's why it's in my vehicle. But yeah, that's my axle vent setup. And my trans vent, my transfer case vent set up. I can literally put this whole damn thing underwater above my head before my transmission, my transfer case, my axles, or anything gets water in. And you know, you might say to yourself, you're like, dude, that looks dumb. You're stupid. Like, that don't look good. Well, this Jeep, it's kind of a junker. I just got off Facebook Marketplace. The frame was real rusty. I went through and fixed all the frame and everything, welded new metal, and I'm kind of going to make it like a little bit of a four-wheeling, mudding, off-road, daily driver, whatever I want it to be rig. I mean, if I point this thing at a mud hole and want to go through it, it's going to go through it. If I want to climb a mountain with it, I'm going to climb a mountain with it. If I want to rock crawl with it, I'm going to rock crawl with it. And then I'm going to drive it to the mall and get some ice cream. That's all I want. I don't care if it's pretty. I don't care what people like. I just want to be able to drive up to my head in water and know my Jeep's still going to run and not cut off and not get not get water in the axles, transmission, transfer case, and all that. The motor vents, everything like that, going to be the same way. Once I do the roll cage inside, right there where the roll cage pillar is by the dash, I'm going to run my vents all the way up there and kind of put a zip tie on them and clamp them right there. I'll kind of show you what I'll do, but they're going to look all neat and nice once I'm done with it. They're kind of just in the beginning stages right now, and I haven't went around and tensioned the line and got it straightened out where I want it and everything. But it'll look right once I get done. I'm also going to have onboard air on this Jeep so I can pump tires up, do all that stuff. Also planning to put a power inverter and a mobile welder in this rig. So, like, she gonna do it all, dude. If there's a rig stuck in the woods somewhere, I'm gonna have enough tools, enough recovery gear, a welder, and we're gonna be up there with a dang hot pot cooking ramen noodles off my power inverter in the dang middle of the woods. Like, this rig's gonna be cool. And now you see that's where it sits when it's up and out of the way. Literally just have it on that one bolt with my other vent running across it. Got it right up here in the headlights. So just normal driving, we can go all the way to the headlights without getting water in anything. This excess here, I mean, it's tightly in there, not gonna matter. This is ran just temporarily down through here. I'm gonna run it down along the frame rail and go to the side. But for what I'm doing right now, that's plenty enough flex. And you're like, oh, it's gonna hit the belt. It don't flex that way. It's not gonna pull it backwards, it's gonna pull it down. I thought about everything already. I thought about that. I really did. But I wish I could get this coil a little tighter, but I mean, I'm gonna live with it. Is what it is. Doesn't look that bad to me.